Aloha and good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:03 p.m. on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024, and I call the Committee on Public Safety meeting to order. In the council chambers today, I would like to welcome Councilmember Tupola. Also joining us today is Council Floor Leader Cordero, and I would also like to welcome Committee Vice Chair Tolba, who will be participating remotely by video conference. Councilmember Tolba, in accordance with Section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, please identify each person who is with you at your location. If you could unmute Councilmember Tolba, unmute your...
I'm by myself.
Okay, mahalo, Committee Vice Chair. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam is excused from today's meeting. Pursuant to Section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology with the following procedures in effect for the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda in the following order: in person in the council chamber and remotely. In person and remote oral testimony will be allowed when each agenda item is taken up. Before testifying, each person shall state their name for the record. Each speaker will be limited to a 1-minute presentation on each item. All persons who have registered to testify in person will be called upon first. When your name is called, please proceed to the podium. When the timer goes off, please conclude your remarks promptly. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to testify following the registered testifiers. I will then proceed to remote testimony via video conference or phone. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. For those who are joining us by telephone only, I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, please listen for the prompt to unmute and press *6. Persons who have not registered to testify remotely will be given an opportunity to offer testimony. To indicate your desire to speak, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom or press *9 on your telephone. Some friendly reminders and tips: video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're also watching the proceedings on Olelo, please mute your television at the time you are called to testify. When the timer on screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. HRS Section 92-3.7 requires that all votes at remote meetings be conducted by roll call unless unanimous. Therefore, I will first call for objections, and if there are any, I will call for a roll call vote. For those council members participating from outside the council chamber, in accordance with HRS Section 92-3.7, the meeting will automatically recess if we lose audio-visual contact with you and we cannot reconvene until we reestablish contact. Therefore, please notify me if you will be leaving the meeting, even if only for a short period of time. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones for the duration of this meeting. Mahalo. We'd also like to welcome to the chamber Councilmember Say. Thank you for being with us today. Moving to agenda item number 1, Resolution 24-93. This resolution accepts a monetary gift to the city valued at $4,000 from the 200 Club to fund the Honolulu Fire Department's Manager, Firefighter, and Civilian Employees of the Year Awards. And with us today, we have Battalion Chief Jean-Claude Bish from the Honolulu Fire Department. Aloha, Battalion Chief Bish.
Hi, good afternoon, Committee Chair, Vice Chair, and Council members. I'm Battalion Chief J.C. Bish with the Honolulu Fire Department, and we are happy to accept this gracious gift from the 200 Club to recognize our Employees of the Year.
Thank you, Battalion Chief Bish. Members, are there any questions? Seeing none? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Is there anyone else in the council chamber who would like to testify?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll now proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom who would like to testify?
Chair, there are none.
Seeing none, members, we are in discussion. Thank you. Okay, that being said, for no further discussion, the chair recommends that Resolution 24-93 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion? Any objections or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving on to agenda item number 2, Resolution 24-115. The resolution renames the Honolulu Police Department's Police Academy Kekula Makai Gymnasium in honor of former Honolulu Police Department Chief Lee D. Donahue. And with us, I believe we have Major Manny Hernandez from the Training Department of our Honolulu Police Department. Good afternoon, Major Hernandez.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. Major Manny Hernandez of the Honolulu Police Department Training Division. We support the resolution, and we think it's a fitting commemoration for recognizing Chief Donahue's years of service for our department, and I'll be available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Major Hernandez. Members, are there any questions? Yes, Council Member Say.
Officer Hernandez, what would be the proper channel to, honoring Chief Donahue, who I knew so well, but does it have to go before the police commission? So that they are aware that we are taking some action on behalf?
So for our facilities building, sir, we can rename it, and we can notify, I can go through my proper chain of command to notify police commission, but it would be for our internal, purposes for our training academy. But I believe, I don't want to speak for the commission, but I believe they would be supportive as well.
I recognize that, but, if it's, I would think that it should be initiated by the commission rather than the council. That's just my personal. Because at least the commission will know that this is the initiative that we're pushing on behalf of all of the officers present and those who are deceased. But more importantly, I just wanted the recognition of the commission being aware of it. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. We can approach the commission and discuss the item with them. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Councilmember Say. Members, any further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Mahalo, Major Hernandez. We'll now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or not registered in-person testifiers?
Chair, I believe Councilmember Toba would like to ask a question.
Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. Committee Vice Chair Talba, please.
No, I think Lee Donahue's daughter was supposed to be in testimony, but the family notified our office. I just want to let everyone know that the Waipahu facility is near and dear to the chief's heart. He taught a lot of kids, and not only kids, but recruits, and it was very fitting that the family chose the Waipahu facility in honor of the chief. So I just wanted to say that. She should be, the daughter should be in the council chamber.
Thank you, Committee Vice Chair Talba. We do actually see Chief Donahue's daughter. If you could come to the podium, push the mic on, and just state your name for the record. Welcome to the chamber.
Hi, good afternoon, Council Chair, Vice Council Chair, and City Council and staff. My name is Leanne Donahue Williams. I am the daughter of former Police Chief Lee D. Donahue. I'm here today to request your support in renaming the Kekula Makai Police Academy Gym to the Chief Lee D. Donahue Gym. My family believes that this facility would be appropriate to honor and remember Dad's legacy for the many years that Dad worked hard and contributed his time on earth as a community leader. For 40 years, Dad served the community as a Honolulu police officer and later became the 8th Honolulu police chief. Dad loved his job, and he was dedicated to making our community a safer place to live. Dad was instrumental in the planning and building of the Kekula Makai Training Academy for the future police officers today. My dad believed in community service. His first police beat was in the Waipahu district, and therefore he wanted to give back to this community. My dad loved to teach karate, so in 1994, Dad co-founded Kickstart Karate, a nonprofit program to educate the youth and to help combat juvenile delinquency and gang affiliation through the discipline of the martial arts. This program began at the Kekula Makai Gym and is still in operation today. So today I'm here to ask for your support in considering Resolution 24-115, which will honor my father and ensure his legacy will be remembered for many, including future Honolulu police officers and the use of Kickstart Karate. I believe that this resolution will have a strong support by the leaders and community of Honolulu. So on behalf of our family, we ask for your time, we thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much, Ms. Donahue Williams. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? Yes, Council Chair Cordero. Council Floor Leader Cordero.
No questions, but just comments. I was one of those kids born in the 90s that really benefited from the Kickstart Karate, and I would often see your father there, especially judging the tournaments and leveling up in the belts. So, luckily I was able to get a black belt with the karate.
And you can always come back too.
That's true. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Florida Cordero. Yes, Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much to your family, and I'm excited that this is happening. It's truly incredible to see a police officer just really take that passion of community service to the fullest extent, and especially in influencing the youth in our communities. So thank you to your family, and of course to your late father.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to echo, thank you so much for being here today. No questions, but I'm glad to support. I was able to meet your dad at this big event that they had in honor of him, and I learned so much. He even served here on the city council. Yes. I could just tell from the people in that big ballroom that night that he's done so much he had done so much for our community and just the heart of service. So we're grateful and honored, thankful for the department for being here, and grateful for your testimony. And hopefully we can continue to endure his legacy, carry on his legacy of service to our Honolulu County here. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other questions for the in-person testifier, we will now proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Seeing none, members, we are in discussion.
Here,
Yes, Councilmember C.
for Leanne being here, I think there's always someone behind a person who's very successful. So I think we should also say aloha to the mother, Lucy. Okay?
No, thank
Lucy?
you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Is she here?
No.
No? Okay. Well, thank you. I agree with you, and thank you for bringing, I think the Donahue family's lasting impression on all of us here. Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, the chair recommends that Resolution 24-115 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, objections, or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving on to agenda item number 3, Resolution 24-64. This resolution authorizes the use of overt video monitoring in the city and county of Honolulu at scenic points in East Oahu. And with us today, I believe we have Major Brian Lynch, Commander from District 7 from the Honolulu Police Department. Good afternoon, Major Lynch.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, everyone. I'm here and available for questions if you have any.
Major Lynch, just for the record, if you could state your name so we could get it on record.
I'm sorry, Major Brian Lynch, District 7, East Honolulu.
Thank you very much. Members, do we have any questions for Major Lynch? No. I had a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
I was wondering about the department's take on this camera system, and I had some other questions about how they would be used, how the footage would be used. So maybe if you could tell me what's the department's take on it and how you see this running.
So,
what would be the operation of the cameras?
So the cameras, the technology itself isn't anything new. It's the same that's being used in, say, Chinatown and in Waikiki. This current footprint we're talking about is out at the lookouts, which is sort of remote, right? It's out on the cliff edges out there in Hawaii Kai, where we're having a huge problem with car break-ins. The majority of the victims for these crimes are tourists. Our problem is we can't be there all of the time. So what we've done, we've come up with a solution, we thought. We did a pilot with signboards which said, don't leave valuables in the vehicles. And for a month, that actually did wonders. But when the criminals figured out that there were no cops assigned with the boards, they started to damage them, and that didn't work. So we came up with the next step in the pilot, which would be, so these cameras are the things that you kind of see in Home Depot or Lowe's parking lot, or even Long's Mo'ilili. There's the white trailer with the blue light on it, right? And it's got the tall mast. I think there's one in the Safeway parking lot as well. So they come with cameras, and these cameras are deterrents in the sense that when the bad guys know somebody's watching, then they change their behaviors and or they go somewhere else. The camera also protects the unit itself from being vandalized because now we're watching, right? So the intent is to use these cameras in that sense at all the lookouts to deter or even prevent, these crimes. And then if they do so in front of the camera, then we can see the activity and or we can look at, okay, who is this person? If we can identify them, then we can go after them and prosecute them for the crime that they committed in front of the camera. So that's the main intent. I think the bigger picture really is we try it here. When it's successful here, then these units are mobile. So they're not stuck there. They can be moved. So if we're having issues, say, somewhere in some other district, we can move these, of course, within the rules and the laws, we can move these into these areas, and they can assist us in the same way that the private sector uses them to protect their assets. So that's the whole idea behind the whole thing.
Okay. So you said they're mobile units.
Yes.
I think I know what you're talking. I see them.
Yeah.
Are they? So could somebody come and grab them, or how are they? How do we not?
Well, they secure them, and honestly, I don't know how they secure them. Maybe what we used to do is take the tires off the trailers and put them on blocks, so that way they can't take them away. The better part of this pilot is we're not purchasing these and owning them. We're going to lease them. And so if they get damaged or stolen or whatever, which of course we don't want, but if they do, it's on the leasing company to, if it's broken and damaged, they pull the old one out and they bring us a new one that's ready to go. And so we don't have to deal with the maintenance or the fixing or the repairing or any of that.
Okay, good. That was another question I had, the cost of it. So we're leasing them. These are not cameras that we actually own right now. We just
Right
lease them to a
now,
company.
I think it would be premature to jump into that because there's a huge avenue of infrastructure that's required to have. These cameras would be remote. So there's not like a VCR in the bottom recording the footage. The footage is sent to a remote location. So even if they blew up the trailer at the lookout, whatever activity happened before that would be recorded at the remote location and secure at the remote location, which is part of the tactical advantage of this system, is that it is remotely recorded and remotely monitored.
And how is the monitoring working? So the footage is taken, it's remote to another location.
It's recorded.
It's being recorded, and then what happens? Is somebody watching it as it's happened, or it's
part of
later?
Part of the lease is actually somebody sitting there watching it, not one of us. It's somebody with this leasing company that we would be dealing with. And so, I mean, that is another attractive grab for us in the sense that it's cheaper to have this person do that than it would. And there's rules about us watching and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay. So the footage, they're watching this company that you're leasing where they're actually watching it 24/7?
No, we would only ask for day hours because it's the daytime is what we're having our problem with.
daytime.
Because at night, these things don't happen.
And at nighttime, the cameras would stay there, though.
But they would stay there, and then again, they got the blue lights, right, that flash, which is sort of a deterrent.
Deterrent,
right?
okay.
And so we're anxious to see just we're fairly positive that it's gonna be a positive thing, and it'll lead to things that we can use in other places. And then once we like it and we know it works, maybe then we could look into possibly purchasing our own, but then we would have to have the IT end of it to handle all of this IT stuff that's attached to it, right? So, it's a work in progress.
Got it. I just had a couple more questions.
Sure.
Do we know what the cost, if you could give me a number of what the cost for the leases?
Roughly, until we get it nailed down, it's roughly around $3,000 a month for one.
And we're looking at how many for this area?
If we could have it our way, we would have at least 4.
Okay. And my last question, you get the footage, and
Yeah.
this is supposed to be a deterrent, and also hopefully you are able to catch criminals who are breaking into cars, but that with that footage, is that later enforceable? I mean, in the court,
Yes.
if they take that, what does that footage do? Like right now, when we get footage of cameras catching people breaking the law, how enforceable is that in court?
It's a depends questions in the sense that if you're watching the video and you're like, hey, that's Major Lynch. Okay, well then you've just identified the guy. And I might ask as the attorney, well, how do you know it's Major Lynch? Oh, well, his kids play soccer with my kids. I know him, whatever, what have you, right? For us, it's like, oh, that's Joe Blow. Well, how do you know him? Well, we've arrested him 10 times. And so that's admissible in court as an identification for that crime.
And they couldn't just say, I'm thinking about even like the traffic cameras where they can say, well, it wasn't me at that time in the car, or it wasn't me at that location.
Well, the identification can't be like from here, way, like the officer sitting against the wall there. I can see him, right, but I can't quite make out who it is. So it's got to be, yeah, that's him because I'm close. It can't be vague. And there are opportunities, and now with COVID and stuff, everybody's masked up, which we've had problems with, the smash and grabs. There's good footage, but you can't see. But, these criminals are not always the smartest. They might have their nice tattoo that's on their right arm or left arm that's obviously, something unique to them, and then that's the kind of stuff that we can use, right? Versus right now, we don't have anything. And it's not quite a free-for-all, but they're out there doing business, and we got to do something different. And with this technology, and it's nothing new, we got to plug it in and use it versus doing stuff the old, archaic way.
Thank you. Does the department have numbers on how many of these break-ins are happening?
So it's a seasonal thing. It goes with the summer, and it goes up and down. But on average, in a busy month, we could have as many as 50
per
month.
Per month.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Members, are there any further questions? Councilmember Tupola?
Aloha, thank you for being here. Quick question, is this with Lifeline or the company that you're using?
To do it properly, I think we'd have to put it out for bid, right? To see.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it is going to be that company anyways. All of us use it on the west side. They're from Kapolei. But one of the additional things they do, which I don't know if this is an additional cost, but they do actually speak to the people that are there.
There is that possibility. There is that feature also.
Yeah.
And we could also build on it. There's things that we use, like license plate readers.
Yeah.
We can put on. So it's a platform to put all kinds of stuff.
I'm well aware of how it works because we have it on all of our job sites on the west side. Everybody uses it for their parking lots, but I do think that each facet of it is a little bit more, but I think that talking to thing is really work because basically when they come around, the person will say, hey, you're not supposed to be over here, and people look around and like, yes, you in the gray shirt. Yeah. And this person is actually at a place where there's lots of different cameras, so they're watching multiple job sites all at once in one place. So it really is ingenious. I think it saves a lot of money, and it definitely doesn't take away from our officers because they're handling a lot of security level detail that you guys really shouldn't be sitting around doing. So I'm in full support of this.
As a cost factor, if you were to add up paying a police officer to sit there all day long versus this trailer, the juice is worth the squeeze to have the trailer, and then the officer's free to go do other, proactive things, catching bad guys and stuff. Not to say that the guy monitoring could say, hey, this is going on. I see the car. It's a yellow Volkswagen. This is the license plate number. It's leaving over there, and there's only 2 ways out of over there, right? Because it's either Waimanalo or it's Hawaii Kai. We can proactively, go in that way as well.
But it also takes out all the human error because now it takes out all the human error because now you have a recording of it. So
after the fact, yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Tupola. Members, any further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Thank you, Major Lynch. We will now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Is there anyone else in the council chamber who is here to testify or would like to testify?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Okay. Members, we are in discussion. Okay, well, at this time, the chair recommends that action on the resolution actually be postponed to a date and time determined by the chair. Are there any discussion, any objections? Okay, any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving to agenda item number 4, Oahu Wildfire Preparedness Resources and Update. Joining us in the council chamber today, we have Assistant Chief Craig Uchimura and Captain Keith Ito from the Honolulu Fire Department. We'd also like to welcome Director Hiro Toya from the Department of Emergency Management. And joining us on Zoom are co-executive directors Elizabeth Pickett and Nani Barreto from the Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization to give brief presentations on the subject of Oahu wildfire preparedness. For your information, the presentations are available online as Departmental Communication 308 and Miscellaneous Communication 199. So first we have with us presenting first is Assistant Chief Greg Uchimura from the Honolulu Fire Department, along with Captain Keith Ito.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Committee Chair Okamoto, Vice Chair Talba, committee members, and council members. Craig Uchimura, Assistant Chief with Honolulu Fire Department Support Services. I'm going to be giving a few brief highlights of the wildland fire issue. I'm going to want to give a lot more time to Nani Barreto, who's online with the Hawaii Wildland Management Organization. She's going to be doing a short presentation. So in regards to this wildland fire issue, Fire Chief Howe is a co-chair of the city's wildfire preparedness work group along with DM Director Toya. That was established last October 2023 under the direction of the mayor's office. So some of the actions that we've been taking based on specific mission areas are under prevention. We've been working with HWMO to refine a comprehensive wildland fire risk matrix. And what we're going to do is we're going to use that as a tool to assess the entire island. We've done an initial assessment internally with the fire department. Now we're going to be taking this more refined risk matrix and doing the entire island. The findings from this assessment are going to be used in community wildfire protection plans, or CWPPs. So the CWPPs, it assembles a prioritized list of actions and projects to protect the community from wildfires, and it also provides access to funding for mitigation projects. Under the mission area of protection, we've been working with the Board of Water Supply to identify additional critical infrastructure needed for these high-risk areas. Board of Water Supply is currently conducting a feasibility study for these, the infrastructure. We're also coordinating the installation of 16 fire sensors along the leeward coast. There was a press conference on Maui, and it's the same sensors that are being deployed across the state. Under the mission area of mitigation, the HFD has attended several FireWise community meetings with HWMO, and that's where we reach out to the community members to assist us with this effort. We're also coordinating with HWMO to host 3 statewide large landowner webinars that are coming up during this month. And lastly, in regards to response, so I think we've mentioned in a previous council meeting that we've increased the amount of apparatus that are dispatched to an initial wildland fire or brush fire call. We've also increased staffing on red flag warning days, but we're currently working with the National Weather Service to upstaff on high wind warning days because there's only a handful of red flag warning days per year, and we're looking at more of the high wind as a factor. We're currently working with DEM and HPD on the notification and evacuation procedures for wildland fires. And we recently reconvened the Oahu Wildland Fire Coordinating Group. So that's a group that consists of federal, state, county agencies to respond to these fires, similar to what we had in Mililani. It was, each county has a work group. Haven't had one for the past several years, and we're reconvening that group. So, any questions?
Members, any questions? If I could just have you say, because maybe questions will come as we're going through the presentations. I might have some, but maybe I'll wait till the end to see if they're answered.
Sure,
But thank you, Assistant Chief Uchimura. Hello, Director Toya, welcome to the chamber.
Hi, good afternoon. Hiro Toya, Director for the Department of Emergency Management. First, thank you so much for inviting us to be able to speak to this very important issue, not only to the council, but to the public. I think we certainly owe to the public to provide updates on our efforts. But I'm humbled to be here today to sort of be an opening act for Nani Barreto over at the Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization they've been doing this since 2008 and really trying to bring to the forefront the risks that we face for wildfires and what we can do as a community about it. So just really honored to be able to be sort of an opening act for her today. But as Chief Uchimura mentioned, we've really had an unprecedented level of cross-sector collaboration. Of course, we saw the tragic events on Maui, not only in the immediate aftermath, but we're now seeing the long tail of the recovery from that incident. And the mayor was very clear to us. He sent us a memo on August 22nd that we are to review Oahu's wildfire risks and ensure that all of our plans are incorporating in our latest understanding of risks. So that's exactly what we've been doing. And the emphasis here is the coordination and collaboration, as Chief Uchimura has referred to. And that means not only within each of the agency, and you heard Chief Uchimura talk about how the HFD is sort of reorganizing itself in terms of how they initially respond to wildfire incidents, but within the whole of the city government. And we've been meeting on a quarterly basis, not only with who you might think of as the traditional first responders, but other departments like facilities maintenance or planning and permitting, budget and fiscal services, along with some of our state partners like the Department of Land and Natural Resources, and also including nonprofit partners like HWMO. But also critical to that is the inclusion of the Hawaiian Electric Company in our preparedness efforts and coordination. So again, we've always had good collaborative efforts within the city and with our partners, but what we've been able to do is just to have this unprecedented level of cross-sector collaboration over the months since August 8th. So a couple things that's already been referred to. The city's wildfire preparedness working group that does continue to meet on a quarterly basis. And some of the material things that's come out of that is the enhanced coordination between the fire department and the risk assessment that they do, and how that informs operations from departments like Department of Facility Maintenance or State Department of Transportation, so that they understand from HFD's perspective where the high-risk areas are, what they're seeing out in the field, and they can prioritize those areas for vegetation management, for instance. So that coordination, again, we're talking about limited amount of resources that we have within the city and county of Honolulu. We have to make the best use of the available resources. So that coordination has been really a beneficial outcome of the mayor's wildfire preparedness working group. A couple other things. Chief Uchimura mentioned the coordination of evacuation. As much as we'd like to have pre-scripted evacuation plans for every community on the island, that's just simply not feasible for us. The evacuation procedure would depend highly on the specifics of the incident itself. And so what we need to have is a strong coordinating structure between the field, amongst the first responders, to the dispatch centers, to the emergency operations center, and with the senior leaders, so that we're all communicating with a single message and we have a common operating picture and a common understanding of what it is that's happening out in the field. So a lot to take away from some of the reports that's come out from Maui in the recent weeks. There's an after-action report that was published by the Maui Fire Department, and there was the first phase of the Attorney General's timeline that came out. So we're all collectively reviewing that and making sure that we're learning the lessons that we can from that incident. And part of that really is that communication and coordination between the field to dispatch, to the EOC, to the senior leaders, making sure that we have an effective structure. So because the evacuations in each incident is very, very unique to that incident, we have to have a strong structure to not only communicate internally, but also with the public. So that's part of the ongoing work that we have right now with the Honolulu Fire Department, the Honolulu Police Department, to make sure that not only are we able to communicate effectively amongst the emergency response and emergency management system, but also with the public, and doing so in a progressive way, in a redundant way, so that we're not dependent on any single means to communicate with the public. There's been some concerns about the availability of the cell phone infrastructure, for instance. We cannot be dependent on one system. And so we have redundant means and a clear understanding amongst all the response partners of what those mechanisms are. And for instance, for me to be able to issue the emergency alerts over TV, radio, cell phone, and sirens, I have to have a clear picture from HFD on what's going on out in the field. So we do believe that we have an effective structure, but we're continuing to refine the process so that we can be as effective as we can be. Couple other areas where we're having sort of unprecedented levels of collaboration is our partnership with private property owners and also with the military. Councilmember Tupola challenged me to have more coordination with the military for Kole Kole Pass. And we're exactly doing that, as well as some of the opportunities that we have. For instance, in Makakilo, Peonani Street, there's essentially a dirt access road that's being used by Non Inc. for their quarry out there. We're in discussion right now with them, as well as 3 other property owners, to make that road available as an emergency egress route. So again, really the collaboration and coordination that we have right now, that's where we feel like we're making the most progress, is getting traction with all of our partners to serve our public. So one final thing is mutual aid. This was brought up in the Maui County's after action report, was this need for a statewide mutual aid system. So that's essentially a system in which counties can assist one another when there's a large-scale emergency that happens. So we did provide mutual aid assistance, both through Honolulu Fire Department, also the police department, also through some of our public communication experts. We sent a number of resources to Maui County. And so we'll continue to work with Maui County to understand where we can improve the existing system. Right now, that's funneled through the state's emergency management system. But if there's opportunities for us to make the lead time shorter on that, so that we're either able to provide assistance or receive assistance more quickly when emergencies happen, we'll be working with Maui County and the rest of the state to refine those processes. So with that, I'll conclude there and hand off to our next presenter.
Thank you, Director Toya. And finally, we'll have our third presentation from Executive Directors Elizabeth Pickett and Nani Barreto from the Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization. I believe they're online. Aloha.
Hi. Thank you. Aloha. If you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen here.
Okay. Nani, if you could just for the record state your name so we could have it on record, and you have your
Sure.
camera on. Okay.
Yeah, my name is Nani Barreto, and I am with Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization. Thank you so much, first off, for inviting us to share a bit with everybody here, to the committee members. I also want to say how honored we are to be working so closely with Honolulu Fire Department and the Department of Emergency Management. I mean, our mission really wouldn't be possible without the collaboration and the kinship we have with them. So briefly about us, Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization, we are a nonprofit. We are, the space that we work in is really focused on wildfire prevention, planning, mitigation, and information sharing. We've been doing this for 23 years now. We do work statewide. We're based out of Waimea on the Big Island, which is why I'm not with you today. But the work that we do is on behalf of and in really close partnership with all of our county fire departments, again, including Honolulu Fire Department and our state forestry agency. They were the ones that founded us 2 decades ago, really to be that gap filler so that they can tell us how we can be helpful, how we can plan together, and then we go out and execute on the ground. Over the years, we've developed a lot of informational resources and materials. We do a lot of wildfire preparedness programming. We make all of these available to all of the different players, to our agency friends, our fire practitioners, our other professionals, and the general public, of course. So today, I just want to give you a brief overview of some of the programs and the materials that might be relevant to this group. And that way you know what's available to your constituents as well. Perfect timing, this Saturday, this was mentioned already, but is the launch of the National Wildfire Community Preparedness Day campaign. This campaign takes place the second Saturday of every May, but here in Hawaii, we celebrate the entire month. Really, the purpose is to provide an opportunity for groups and individuals, particularly those that live in fire-prone areas, to come together on a single day, or in our case, in a single month, to complete mitigation projects that can make their houses, their communities, their areas safer from wildfire. The campaign itself was first launched in 2014, so a decade ago. It was a joint initiative of the National Fire Protection Association, which is the national nonprofit, along with State Farm. And then every year since then, we in Hawaii have been celebrating it as well, too. And this year, it's not just our fire departments and our Firewise neighborhoods that are getting on board, but our elected officials, both the Honolulu County and Honolulu mayors. They've issued proclamations declaring May, in your case, it's going to be tomorrow, I believe, declaring May as Wildfire Community Preparedness Month, which is really great. And all month, you'll notice neighborhoods come together to do different mitigation projects, anything from green waste dumpster events to curbside chippers to volunteer work days in common areas. And we'll be sharing those projects out on our social feeds. The other campaign we are part of, it's our more local one, Hawaii specific. It's our dry season campaign. It's called Wildfire and Drought Lookout. This came about, gosh, I think it was in 2014, really because people started to notice that not every county, not every entity was using the same messaging when it came to fire in Hawaii, including, the prevention and risk reduction recommendations that were going out. So at that time, all of the various agencies got together and we came up with a set of shared messaging that we wanted to communicate back to the public. So all of that messaging is on this 2-page fact sheet here on the screen. Plus there's single messaging tips that we put out, but we launch it every year, usually, around this time or early June. That way everybody can, share their resources as they can. We have a website that hosts all the resources and additional information. And this year the kickoff's going to be on June 4th. So in about a month on Maui. And this year we're going to incorporate a water conservation message, which we haven't done in the past. And so that's pretty cool. We're going to do that in partnership with the Hawaii Drought Council and the Board of Water Supply. So we invite everybody here, to help share the messages and the resources if it seems appropriate. For neighborhoods, I think, Hiro mentioned this earlier, but we have our Firewise Communities program. So this is a program that we do in partnership, not just with the fire departments, but with our State Division of Forestry and Wildlife. The program itself, it's a national one. It's run by the same entity that launches PrEP Month, the National Fire Protection Association. And really the purpose of the program is to recognize all those neighborhoods across the country, across our state, that are actively working toward their own wildfire preparedness. We at Hawaii Wildfire, we adopted the program at the state level back in 2014. I guess everything was back in 2014. At that time, we onboarded 10 neighborhoods into it. And over the next decade, we continue to grow the program. And I just want to mention, before the August wildfires, we were supporting 16 nationally recognized communities across the state, and now we have 18 and 22 that are in the application process. So the program is definitely growing, and we cannot do it without the fire departments. They're the ones that help get the word out. They show up at the community meetings, encouraging and supporting, and then they participate in the community hazard assessments that are done with the neighborhoods. And one cool thing also, we bring everybody together, all of the various communities, so that they can connect and learn from one another and share resources. So feel free, there's more information on our website. This is also mentioned, the community wildfire protection plans. That's another initiative of ours. We've actually written all of the community wildfire protection plans for the state since 2007. And if you look here on the map, you'll see Oahu. So we recently completed one for North Shore and East Honolulu. So those are published and on the website. And then we applied for funding to update the Western Oahu. That was first completed in 2016, but it needs to be updated. And then 2 areas you can see on the map, it's gray. Those areas are not currently covered by any wildfire protection plan. So we're hoping to get those developed in the near future too. So that's Central Oahu and the windward side. The plan itself is just a document, and it's not as important as the actual coming together of everyone, where we get to think through that areas, their primary wildfire concerns, think about what needs to be done to improve wildfire outcomes. And then in this next set, as we develop these new ones, we're going to make the plans more actionable. So we're going to, keep the players together at the table for a longer amount of time so that we can actually implement the plan over time. So if you do want to get, for the general public, we count on their input. So we invite everybody to those meetings when they come up, because like Hiro mentioned earlier, those plans open doors for federal funds. And if those projects aren't in there, then those projects are not fundable. Okay, so I have just a couple more slides. Besides the campaigns, the Firewise program, the community wildfire protection plans, we've got tons of informational resources on our website. The main go-to handbook, which you may have seen, is the one on the left called the Ready, Set, Go. All of the fire departments have it. The forest, the DOFA has it. We also try to keep people updated, so feel free to sign up for our newsletters. We have a newsletter for professionals in the wildfire field, so you can sign up for that as well. And just a heads up, we're in the middle of revamping our website. So if you go on there and you find some outdated images or some broken links, don't worry, we're fixing that. Really quick, there is federal funding that's available for projects, mainly education mitigation projects. So I just want to mention 2 of them. One of them is the Community Wildfire Defense Grant Program. That's a limited bucket of funds that are available to at-risk neighborhoods. There's 5 rounds of funding. We just completed round 2. Round 3 is going to open up, I think this month or next month. And then the other one is the Wildland Urban Interface Program. That's an ongoing source of funds for mitigation projects. Every year that they put out the request for applications, I think sometime in the summer or early fall. More information about both of those grants can be found on the DOFA website. And this year, Hawaii Wildfire is available to specifically help anybody, any entities or neighborhoods that want to develop applications for either of these. We're here to help advance those ideas or even help write the proposal. So that's it from me. Really, thank you for this opportunity. Please let us know how we can help anyone here. That's what we're here for. Our email address is there. And again, thank you so much for this opportunity, and thanks to Hiro and the fire department too for always supporting our efforts.
Thank you so much, Nani. Members, do we have any questions at this time? Okay, Councilmember Tupola.
Hey, aloha, Nani, how are you?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, aloha, thank you.
Hey, I had a quick question. Last year when we were discussing and you guys had a meeting in my district, at that time there were no communities on the island of Oahu that were Firewise communities. Is that still the case to date?
No, it's not, which is awesome. So yeah, back when we spoke, I think it was just Kamilonui Valley, Mariners Cove area that's Firewise. And now we've got 2 more, both on that side of the island. And then we've got 5, I believe, that are in the application process. So the application basically is, it's all the steps on the criteria that you have to meet to become nationally recognized. And so we've got like 5 or 6 communities that are going through it right now.
So the other 2 besides Kamilonui are also in the East Oahu area?
Yeah, and then Lanikai area. And then there's been some early community building going on over in Waianae, Nanakuli, another community central, but I can't think of it offhand. But yeah, like, you know, it's a journey, it's slow, but yeah, we've had some interest. People reach out, learn more, not quite ready to take the steps yet, or they're looking for other residents that want to volunteer time to work towards it, that kind of thing.
So basically 3 then. So we're at 3 for our island. Is that correct?
3 that are nationally recognized, yes.
Yeah, and I just messaged my office because we were on and off talking about it, and I still want to complete the one for my little neighborhood that's kind of halfway done. So definitely we can finish our last step of doing a community project. But just to bring that up, Chair, because I thought about it doing a resolution or something, but I think for our island, we don't have necessarily a clear goal of how many fire-wise communities we're trying to make, and especially on my side where the majority of the fires actually happen on the west side of Oahu, prioritizing community by community so that we can have not just, oh, we support everything you do, but what are the action steps that we can do to get, I don't know, say 5 every year on the west side, 5 here. And so maybe it's something we can do as council members too, is to try to see if we can identify that. And really for those who are listening, the process is fairly easy. I mean, you do have to work with the wildfire management organization, but you're identifying places that are dangerous, identifying, you know, brush line that needs to be cut, and then you're getting everyone involved to actually know how to better maintain their own properties in the event of a wildfire. So yeah, just wanted to thank you for your work, and hopefully by the end of this year, you'll have 4, because I'm pretty sure I can finish my own one.
the challenge that we are faced with wildfires. So I would say for individuals and communities to engage in programs like FireWise, be proactive, do what you can from your level to be prepared and to prevent wildfires, and to also know your neighborhood so that if there's opportunities for action, that not only is that awareness shared amongst the community members, but maybe there's opportunities for us. I've heard that over 60% of the communities in our state are built with one way in, one way out. And that's the
part
reality.
of, yeah, that's definitely with the Malka fire that's in my district. I think all of our districts have something like that. So, and they will tap into the events that happen in Lahaina. And so I think when I come to, I understand that we can't make a plan for everybody, but I think for us, if we could take back, and I will say that the department did such a good job, because after the Lahaina fires, we had in Councilmember Wyer's district, the Wahiawa, and then there was the Malka fire in mine. And I feel like the department did a really good job in handling that. And so we're gratefully we didn't have any, really bad catastrophes or disasters happening. But in the event that something does happen, and there is, all of our districts, I believe, have some kind of neighborhood or part of the community where it is one way in, one way out. I guess I'm hoping that maybe you can help us to communicate to the people. I agree with the prevention, because I even went to one of the the mayor's town halls, HFD was there, and they had plants there, and they said, if you educate the people about having this type of plant versus these types, and I never thought of that this would be a much safer thing to have around your home than the normal plants. So education is so key, but in the event that something does happen, are we turning to you then? The department's communicating with you, and if there is something that gets out of control where it is a danger to the community, is the communication coming from you then, or from the people, the HFD that's on the ground? And I ask this just because we know what happened in Lahaina with the communication, and we haven't gone to that extent, but if there is something that happens to that level, what are we looking at, even though we don't have the cookie cutter answer? Where are we turning to for the communication?
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And it's really going to be a combination. So just real quick, go back on the issue of the ingress-egress routes. And so the reality we have is 60% of the communities in our state are going to be one way and one way. Just think of every valley and ridge community. It's one way and one way out, essentially, right? And so where we can, we are seeking these potential alternate ingress-egress routes. So, I mentioned Kolekole Pass as an example, and also in Makakilo. But those are going to be few and far between. So that means our mitigation measures have to be that much better, that we focus our attention on those communities that may have limited ingress-egress, because evacuation is going to be a less desirable option for those communities. So we need to make sure that we're focusing our efforts on those areas. And so it's just not going to be physically feasible for and resource-wise to build an alternate route from every community, right? It just, once they're built, it's maybe there are opportunities in some places, and we will seek those, but just to be clear that those will be limited options. So when we do have to evacuate, though, this is where we need to have redundancies and multiple means of communication. So what we would expect to see is that if there's a fire incident that is going to start to affect residential areas or inhabited areas, then we will have firefighters out in the field, and in all likelihood, between HFD and other first responders, HPD out in the field, they would do notifications, as we saw in Lahaina. That would be happening, but as they communicate the need for broader alert and warning, that would get communicated to the Emergency Operations Center, where we have access to other larger tools like the emergency alert system and the wireless emergency alerts and our siren system, right? So the emergency alert system, EAS, that's the crawler that goes across your TV, interrupts your programming, and there's also a radio message that goes out. And I think this is where we could do a little better job as emergency management to emphasize the need for this redundancy, and also a little extra emphasis on radio as a very robust and resilient means of communication for us with the public. you can be in your car, right? And radio systems tend to be more resilient than some of the other systems that we have. Cell phone systems could fail. As we saw in the news yesterday with Maui County, that as much as powerful as these things are, and as powerful as our wireless emergency alerts are, that might not always be available. And same thing with the siren system. So any one of these components could fail. My message is that to not be overly dependent on any single system, but to have awareness that any one of those tools could be used for us to communicate to the public. So all of the above, first responders out in the field, maybe going door to door. It could be PA announcements on their vehicles. It could be using the emergency alert system or the wireless emergency alert or the sirens. And of course, the sirens means check other sources for information. But I think what's really also important is the social cohesion that we have in the community, and for us to all look after one another, and knowing our neighbors and knowing those who might not always be paying attention to these things, or maybe they don't have the technological means to receive these alerts, that we're all looking out for one another and getting these critical messages out.
Thank you so much, Director Toya. I had maybe, and this is probably a follow-up for HFD, because you mentioned the resources. And as we approach this part of the year that will be more dry, less rain, and I guess you call it the high wind and the red flag areas. And I brought this up in other committee hearings, but I wanted to talk about the resources. The department, how prepared are we for when these incidents, the weather changes and we do have chances of more wildfires? I believe you came earlier and you talked about one that you had to take care in the west side. So I wanted to just follow up. Do you have the resources? How are the fire trucks? How are our manpower? How is our manpower? And we are expecting the helicopter, which is great, but how is the department being prepared for when these wildfires, not if they happen, because we know that it'll happen. It's been happening.
Thanks for the question. Craig Uchimura, HFD. So, yeah, I was there when Waianae Valley, Makaha Valley was on fire at the same time. And even with that, we still had resources that was able to take care of the rescue calls, the day-to-day medical calls, and the other fire incidents. Right now, our vacancies are very low, so our staffing is good. Our resources, we have the apparatus online that we need. Our mechanic shops, our mechanic shop is keeping our relief fleet up to speed so that we can have apparatus come into service should our frontline apparatus go down. We've been tracking the weather side because I think in the next couple of days the wind is going to pick up. So we've been working with National Weather Service to try and get these alerts out to our personnel so that they know ahead of time, should they go to a wildland fire, they may have to call for more resources right off the bat. And the thing about the high winds is that over a certain wind speed, our helicopter is grounded, so we don't have that.
True,
resource.
yeah. So even more so, I've gone to other departments, E&V and DFM, about making sure there's a shortage right now. They can't order, even parks, they can't order the equipment that they need. Mm-hmm. So I just want to, again, follow up with you guys. Are we keeping up with that? Because we can't afford to have trucks in the maintenance, and can't send the helicopter, so we can't afford to have apparatuses that aren't able to go out when there's a fire that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, our mechanic shop has been faced with those same challenges as everybody else. They've been doing a very good job of making sure that the frontline apparatus are good to go, and as they go down, relief apparatuses are ready to be put in service, and they work on the frontline apparatus and get them right back as soon as they can. So we've been experiencing the same issues on our end, but our mechanic shop has been working on that.
I might follow up on that just to make sure. But thank you so much. Thank you for answering the questions. Members, do we have any further questions? If not, thank you for your patience, those of you who have been waiting to testify. Members, at this time, we will now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, thank you. We will now proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered remote testifiers?
Yes, Chair, they're standing by.
Okay, thank you. I believe with us we have Michelle Matron, who's Matson, here online. If you could unmute your camera and just state your name for the record. Unmute your microphone, sorry, and state your name for the record.
Aloha, my name is Michelle Matson. I'm a member of the Diamond Head Kapolei St. Louis Heights Neighborhood Board, Diamond Head Sub-District 3. I'm also president of the Diamond Head State Monument Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. I did submit testimony around 11:30 this morning. I don't know if you've received it, but I did check with the clerk's office and it was received. I'm hearing today, and all of the comments and testimony and calls for action are highly appreciated. But I'm hearing today there's a lot of discussion about evacuation, opportunities for action. But I believe there is a major key here, which is prevention. And you're talking about nationally recognized locations. Diamond Head is a national natural landmark and a state historic monument globally renowned as a symbol of Hawaii. Yet the slopes of Diamond Head have been allowed to become overrun and dominated by transient encampments. From time to time, the city and state conduct $40,000 periodic house cleaning services for these encampments as the inhabitants sit along the roadway with their belongings and immediately return to cut kiawe tree limbs and build dangerous open campfires on the slopes, despite clearly posted no trespassing signs. Here we are talking about prevention. I've given you a list of the fires just last month. We received a report from HFD there were 4 wildfires on Diamond Head between February and April. I've given you links to wildfire reports.
Thank you so much, Michelle. If just to be respectful to the other testifiers, if you could just summarize. Thank you.
Thank you. In conclusion, ultimately, and for obvious reasons, the high-risk encampments must be safely relocated. That is prevention, and the conservation district's no trespassing signs must be enforced for the fire prevention, safety, and protection of A, the surrounding established communities and hardworking tax-paying residents in the sustainable community district, B, the surrounding public park areas, and C, Waikiki, where these fires will definitely end up.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
To consider the prevention aspects and to please take a look at the exhibits in my testimony. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimonies.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Angela.
Okay, I'm just going to testify in strong support on behalf of Kapolei Neighborhood Security Watch.
Thank you.
I didn't actually read the resolution.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Angela. Okay, members, we are now in discussion. Okay, thank you. We want to thank all of you guys, all of you who participated in today. We're really grateful to have, those of you on the Big Island here from the the Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization. Thank you so much for Director Toya and as well as HFD for being here. We appreciate all that you guys are doing, and we will continue to work with you as we come to the dry season and moving forward. Thank you for all that you've done, and we appreciate your efforts and your work. Okay, this brings us to the end of our agenda today. Mahalo everyone for being here and for your participation. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.